Cassius Clay to take on local hero Henry Cooper. And he immediately antagonized the British public.
From the moment he got off the plane from America for that first fight with Cooper, Clay had been telling everybody he's going to fall in 5. And he kept putting up his 5 fingers all the way leading up to the fight.
Well, Henry Cooper's nothing but a tramp. He's a bum. I'm the world's greatest. He must fall in 5 rounds, but if you talk about me, I'll cut his 3.
He was an extremely brash 21-year-old, and people in this country hated him.
This will be no contest. This will be a total annihilation. Any special training? No special training. Just be at the fight. I'm ready to back up everything I'm saying, and I'm through talking.
This was a deliberate PR strategy developed by the young heavyweight and his wily trainer Angelo Dundee to whip up interest in the fight.
I knew about England. I knew what type of individuals they liked. They liked a close-mouthed sort of a guy that didn't brag or anything. I knew right away they weren't going to like my guy right away because he talked.
And a lot of these people are booing me and making remarks at me on the street, and that's just going to make it hard on Henry Cooper.
We got some notoriety, some publicity, and we sold tickets. That was important.
Henry Cooper passed away in 2011, but he often talked about this famous clash with his sons, John and Henry Marco.
That's you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's us. Leadway Drive.
Yeah.
Well, first time.
Yeah.
And he told them that he took Clay's showmanship with a pinch of salt.
You know, it wasn't personal. Dad always used to say to us afterwards, he always used to have a glint in his eye. He didn't mean it, you know, it was just his way of selling things to the public, you know, and it was a good way of selling because nobody had done it before.
But Cooper was certainly the underdog. Cassius Clay was the Olympic champion, undefeated in 18 professional bouts and about 2 stone heavier. The British boxer decided to even up the odds, for the weigh-in at least.
Dad was always lighter than Muhammad Ali, and Jim Weeks, his manager, decided a good thing to do was to put some lead weights in his shoes and in his hands, so that didn't give Ali too much of a psychological advantage.
But Clay discovered his own source of inspiration at the weigh-in, which was staged at the London Palladium.
Clay found a robe and a crown lying in the dressing room, left over from the previous winter's pantomime. So he stole it.
And we went in the ring with the crown on his head. Said, don't do that, we'll get killed. But you know, it was strictly tongue-in-cheek, we're having some fun. We had the king, they had the queen.
When the fight started, Henry was matching Clay, and Clay was showboating a lot.
It was a fight attended by many celebrities, and he noticed sitting at the ringside was Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor had just made the film Cleopatra. His eyes widened and his mouth, "Hiya, Cleopatra," and a few seconds later Henry hit him.
Everybody stood up because they thought he'll never recover from that punch.
Henry's hammer had landed just seconds before the end of round 4. Clay was saved by the bell, but he was still in trouble.
But when he hit my guy with the left hook in the chin, I know I needed to buy some time.
Angelo Dundee is accused of tampering with Clay's glove to delay the start of the next round.
Came back to the corner wobbly. I told the referee to come over and can't go on because the glove was split. The glove never was split, I just opened it up a little more.
That quick thinking added the crucial 5 seconds before the start of the next round.
People say it didn't make much time, but Dad said even if it's 5 seconds, when you're that fit, you recover straight away, and so it made a difference.
Dundee is also said to have given Clay smelling salts to revive him, which would have disqualified his boxer.
Smelling sauce was taboo, you're not supposed to use it. But you know, I just happened to have a little piece of smelling sauce capsule in a towel, and I was rubbing him with the towel, nice and easy, under his nose. So I utilized the smelling sauce.
A revived Clay emerged for the 5th round, the round in which he had predicted he would finish off Cooper.
He just caught Dad with a nice punch on his eye, and it just opened his cut up, and that was it. As I said, that was a part of the sport in them days, you know. And you try and gain your man a little bit extra time. Yeah, just good thinking of his manager. That's what you got. That's what you're paying for. They look after you in the ring when you're there.
Cassius Clay had won his first fight in Britain, but he certainly hadn't won many fans here. And it seemed the feeling was mutual.
What are your impressions of this little country of ours?
Well, Great Britain is a nice place, but I'm from America and I'm not used to it. The cars are too small, the streets are too narrow. I like open spaces, and I haven't seen as many pretty girls like I do at home.
Clay returned home to challenge Sonny Liston for the World Heavyweight title.
Sonny Liston was considered a monster, an unbeatable monster. Clay outfought him. It was Liston who quit. Clay became heavyweight champion of the world.
Coming up, turning on the charm for Britain's top chat show.
You haven't got a mark on you.
Hit and run away and live to fight another day.
And the story of an unlikely friendship on an Oxfordshire housing estate.
Greatest person I've ever met. Not the fame, not the boxing. I'm talking about him as a man.
In 1964, Cassius Clay defeated Sonny Liston to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Immediately after the fight, he announced that he had changed his name to Muhammad Ali and joined the Nation of Islam, a radical Muslim group associated with outspoken black nationalist leader Malcolm X. 2 years later, Ali headed back to Britain for a title defense against Henry Cooper. Cooper had knocked down Ali in 1963. But when the American returned 3 years later with trainer Angelo Dundee, he had become a major celebrity.
When we first came to England, the first fight, we can walk the streets, nobody bothers. But when he came back, he got to be a controversial figure. We couldn't move.
This fight captured the imagination of the boxing public. The self-proclaimed greatest in a 15-round rematch with the best of British. The excitement even reached Henry Cooper's suburban home and his 5-year-old son, Henry Marco.
You know, when this fight was going on, I was looking out the window, and you see all these people outside. That was really exciting. It made you realise that something special was going on, and Dad just wasn't your dad. Dad was a famous, sportsman.
But Henry Cooper's Italian wife, Albina, was no fan of his profession.
Mum hated boxing. In '66, Dad was quite keen for Mum to see the fight, and Mum really didn't want to go, but she went.
What made you decide to go and see this particular fight?
Because Henry's asked me to. He's never asked me before to go to see any of his fights, and I don't think I should let him down this time.
The fight was staged at Arsenal's Highbury football ground, in front of a sellout audience of 40,000 boxing fans.
The atmosphere had been whipped up to almost a frenzied proportions.
And here is Ali praying in his corner before he comes out for round one.
Henry was boxing quite well, but it was very clear that the longer it went, the more Ali was getting into the ascendancy.
People well short.
It was the fastest heavyweight there'd ever been, and Henry couldn't catch him.
Cooper couldn't get close to Ali, but the world heavyweight champion was landing his blows, to the dismay of Henry's wife in the crowd.
There's actually photos of Mum sort of with her head just buried in her hand. She hardly watched any of it.
In round 6, Ali finally inflicted the same damage on Cooper's face that had ended the fight 3 years earlier.
Yes, Henry Cooper's left eye is badly cut.
A fountain of blood shot up in the air and cascaded over Henry's head and shoulders, and he was literally covered in blood. And I shall never forget the look of horror on Ali's face at what he'd done. And that lasted a split second. Being the great pro that he was, he immediately started jabbing away at Cooper's injury to try and make it worse.
I'm afraid it's a very bad cut. So it's all over. The great disappointment for Henry Cooper.
Dad was in his changing room getting his eyes sorted. There was a knock at the door, and Ali walked in and just came up and shook Dad's hands and said, "I'm sorry the fight had to end that way." And Dad said to him, "Well, don't worry," he said, "that's just the nature of the game."
The following day, Ali headed down to a London television studio to launch a new charm offensive.
The British love affair with Ali began in 1966, after the second Cooper fight.
Ali appeared as a guest on the Eamon Andrews show, alongside Noel Coward, Dudley Moore, and Lucille Ball.
That was the first time the British public realised he wasn't a boastful, ugly American.
I hate the sight of blood. It's not my nature to just hurt a man once I see blood gushing from his head like that. So
And it certainly was gushing, wasn't it? Did you ask the referee to stop it?
I mentioned it, yes, but he paid no attention.
He was a very pretty American with an immense amount of charisma.
Muhammad, you haven't got a mark on you.
Hit and run away and live to fight another day.
In this country, we got to love him quickly, and we kind of saw the irony in him, and all became huge fans of his.
In America, of course, people still used to refer to him as Clay, which of course he didn't like. I think the British press were the first to recognise his change of name and officially call him Ali.
Does it annoy you when people forget and call you Cassius? In the States and many places, you seem to be looking for trouble, you know. How you doing, Cassius, old boy? How you doing? You know my name, fella. Well, I'm Mr. Ali, I'm sorry. But
Let's have a word about the fight last night, Cassius.
Muhammad,
I'm sorry.
Absolutely mesmerised. The only autograph I've ever asked for and got was his, and I've got it in a frame at home, and I'm very proud of it, and I really got to like the man a great deal. Almost love him. I mean, he's a fantastic guy.
Ali had won over the British press and the public. Next, he had to beat another British boxer. In August 1966, he was to take on Brian London, nicknamed the Blackpool Rock.
I'm a consolidated champion in Blackpool. Not as a happy camper, you understand, but to watch Brian London at Blackpool prepare for the greatest fight of his life.
Oh, it was a big build-up. I thought I had a chance, but I made a mistake, didn't I?
Brian London was a British heavyweight. I mean, he was a very strong, physically powerful man, but he didn't have anything like the kind of skill that could cope with Ali at the time.
He was big, he was fast, and he could punch. And I was smaller, fatter, and couldn't punch. Stopped me in 3 rounds, that was it. I don't think I hit him. It was good money and I got well paid for it. That's all I fought for. Every fight I've ever had, I've always had a go. But with Muhammad Ali, I thought, don't get hurt, Brian. I didn't try. Which was wrong. Totally wrong. I wish I could live my life again.
After retaining his title against Brian London, Ali returned to America, where his Islamic faith triggered a major political storm.
He defied the American government by refusing the draft. He refused to go into the US military because he was against the Vietnam War. And of course he was hated in the United States.
Ali was convicted of draft evasion and faced 5 years in prison. The New York State Athletic Commission suspended his boxing license and stripped him of the title on the day of his arrest.
Most countries of the world recognised that the title was vacant except one, and that was Britain. The British Boxing Board of Control regarded him as still the heavyweight champion of the world until he was beaten in the ring. And Ali never forgot that. That's why he had such an affinity with the British people and with this country.
Ali was banned from overseas travel while he appealed against his conviction. So British journalists flew out to the States to speak to him.
I was reading a piece in England just before I came over which described you as the former heavyweight champion of the world. But is that a description you'd accept?
I beat the best that England had to offer, Germany, Canada, and America. Undefeated in all of my professional fights, unscratched and unmarked by a human. So I pay no attention to a few cigar-smoking, dried-up people, you know. My title was taken because of my religion.
Back in Britain, a young bare-knuckle boxer called Paddy Moynihan was outraged by the actions of the US boxing authorities.
It's a great injustice. He's standing up for what he believes in. That's got nothing to do with boxing. So I said, something's got to be done about it. What can be done? What can I do? Then all of a sudden, I thought a petition. I ended up in 3.5 years with 22,224 names and addresses, which I took to the United States Embassy in London.
In 1971, the US Supreme Court rejected the charges against Ali on a legal technicality. He was free to return to Britain.
He made contact, thanking me for what I've been doing. Keep up the good work. I'll see you next time I'm in London. Muhammad Ali.
Later that year, Ali headed over to Britain to promote Ovaltine.
I never realized how many people I had following me, mainly old women and old men. Excuse me, I drink some Ovaltine. I always have them. How do you mix it?
While he was in the country, he got together with Paddy Moynihan.
We met up in the hotel. We were laughing and joking together. Got on well together. We gelled. We liked each other. In the end, he turned around and says to me, he says, Paddy, what is Ovaltine?
This was the beginning of a long friendship. Over the years that followed, Ali regularly visited Paddy's home in Abingdon in Oxfordshire. Here, family home movie footage captured the times the most famous man in the world called in on this otherwise ordinary estate.
He's been down the street so many times. I've lost count. He used to stand outside that front door and he used to do magic tricks for the kids. And then we'd go inside and we'd have our own personal private visits. Me and him, we'd be playing around. Right there. Sparring in the middle of the road. Laughing, joking about the air. Memories I'll always treasure. I miss the guy. The greatest person I've ever met. I'm talking about him as a man, as a friend. Not the fame, not the boxing. As a friend. That's all.
Coming up, Yorkshire's finest winds up the world champ.
Everyone can let itself, Ray.
Sat here with the greatest fighter in the world, and he's getting upset, and I'm not.
And Ali springs into action at a Tyneside boys club.
He shook my hand and he knew he was in for it. And he backed off. That's what I like about that.
(1974). 10 years after he had first been crowned world champion, Muhammad Ali prepared for a new tilt at the title. Ali was now 32 years old, and the clear outsider against the younger and more powerful George Foreman.
I'm the greatest scientific fighter of all time, and you rank up a street barroom bum to beat me. You must be out of your mind.
But he still had his fans in the British press.
I'd gone against everybody else and tipped Ali to win.
Ali dropped Foreman in the 8th round to regain his title.
And I'm afraid I did something very unprofessional. I actually leapt out of my seat and punched the air.
Just weeks after he had regained his title in Zaire, Ali flew back into Britain. After a decade of regular visits to the UK, the heavyweight champion was now a major superstar in this country and had been booked in for his own primetime TV show with host Dickie Davies.
I was informed that we were going to do a program with him. Well, I was so thrilled and nervous whether I'd be good enough to do it, really.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the heavyweight champion of the world, indeed of planet Earth, Muhammad Ali.
And he came in and he was in such a great mood. And immediately he looked at me and he smiled. All the worry went. I think when he came to this country, he seemed so at ease.
In many cases, you can say Britain can be ranked as #1 as far as supporting me is concerned. And the little hassles that I had there in the States, they just didn't pay no attention over here, and they recognized me as their champion.
The studio audience included Ali's old adversary, Henry Cooper.
Oh, a terrible moment in my life. Oh, is when 1963 when that Henry Cooper hit me.
Henry, come up. Can we have an action replay?
You trying to start some
Henry still looks good, too. You don't have no fat on or nothing.
You could see there was such fun between the two of them. They were having a giggle together, you know, and it was lovely.
I'll show you what I was doing. I was in the corner. Come on.
backwards.
Yeah, I was in the corner jamming. Boy, he's one of the good. And that was it.
Yeah, man, fast. He hit me so fast, he hit me before God got the news.
They got on so well. Henry always had a terrific affection for Ali and spoke in such a glowing manner about him and loved him.
Another, less famous boxer was in the audience that day. 17-year-old Isaac Fleming had been invited down from a North London gym.
Someone at a local news club asked me if I wanted to go to meet Muhammad Ali. You know, and we said, yes, we'd jump to it, but we probably didn't believe that it's going to happen anyway. You're sitting there and then you see Nicky Davis and you thought, this is real.
Let's look to the future for a young man who's come to see you. He badly wanted to come to see you. His name is Isaac Fleming. He's a young boxer. He boxes? He boxes.
I thought, Mother, why me? Why are you calling me? Leave me alone, you know?
What he box? Cigars, oranges, grapefruit?
I was frightened, to be honest. I was really nervous and frightened at the same time.
Pull your hands up and block my jab. How do you block this? Come on. Come on, show me something. You ain't nothing. Show me something. You tired already. Look at you. I'm hitting you already. You ain't got nothing. All the girls are watching. I'm beating you up. Come on. Yeah, he's pretty good.
It's something that I will treasure all my life. Just being there with him, you know, in front of him. And it was brilliant.
After beating George Foreman in 1974, the new world heavyweight champion fought 6 successful defenses in a little over 12 months. In 1976, the European heavyweight champion, Yorkshireman Richard Dunn, was to get his chance at Ali's world title. The pair met shortly before the fight at the London gym.
Ali came in, right surprised, and I made a bit of a poem up about him. And I got right up to his face and I said, Muhammad Ali, I think you're a square. I'm going to retire you to a rocking chair. At 34, you ain't so young. You're going to get whipped by Richard Dunn. And that was my poem.
I'm going to dance! I'm going to dance!
First round to Dunn, but Ali hit back with a characteristically over-the-top press conference.
Make him start an Igor! Hallelujah! Igor!
Every donkey like to have itself, Ray.
He was blasting away, and I just said, every donkey likes to hit himself bray. He just jumped up,
I'm the champion of the world!
ranting and raving. And I just sat there, was quiet and content, you know, thinking, this is great, this is fantastic. I sat here with the greatest fighter in the world, and he's getting upset, and I'm not. And as we were walking past me, when he, finished, he grabbed my elbow. And he said, boy, we're going to make some money. And then he was gone.
Unfortunately, the fight itself, held in Munich, was a less even contest than the war of words which had gone before.
I was not interested in survival. I was interested in winning the heavyweight championship of the world. When the bell went, I went out to do my best, to hit him as often and as hard as I possibly could. It just got harder and faster. Got hit me twice, he hit me 3 times, the 4th time.
I remember Richard Dunn was a big tough guy. And you're dealing with strength. So you don't fight strength with strength, you fight it with agility. My guy kept nailing and kept going down.
I got up every time I got put down. And I thought, well, the 5th round, I'm going to go straight out and I'm going to have a real good go at him here. Bang, down and go again. I was down 5 times altogether. Well, I got my ass kicked, but that's besides the point. I enjoyed every single minute of it.
Dunn might not have pulled off a shock result in the ring, but a surprise was in store for him when he returned to Britain the next day.
We got off the aeroplane and there was a big Rolls Royce waiting for me, like open top. And when we got to Bradford, there was 10,000 people there that day. And I couldn't believe it was just fantastic.
The following year, Ali flew into the northeast of England to a rapturous reception. He'd been talked into travelling to the region by Geordie painter and decorator Johnny Walker to raise money for local charities.
There were some people who thought you weren't going to come. Were there any reason for any doubts in you come?
Well, we always surprise people like that. They just can't believe that a common everyday man like Johnny Walker can bring the world's greatest fight to Newcastle.
Ali visited a number of Tyneside institutions, including Granger Park Boys Club, the oldest boxing gym in this part of the world. Norman Close joined the club as a promising welterweight in 1951. And by 1977, when Ali visited the area, he had been appointed head coach.
I was so happy, the world heavyweight champion, come to Granger Park.
Norman introduced Ali to the Granger Park boxers, including his nephew, 19-year-old Leslie Close.
Thought, right, somewhere along the line I've got to make a name for myself. As he shook my hand, that's when I went for it. He shook my hand and he knew he was in for it. And he backed off. That's what I like about that. I says, hey, Leslie, I says, he's champion of the world. I says, behave yourself. And even when he was moving down the line a bit further, he was still giving me the eye. He has me thinking, right, he's coming back, that is. And Uncle Norm's arms round him. Come on now, Wally, you've got to meet all the other boxers. And you're not quite in Les's league yet.
Okay, lads. Get your places. Second on the ring. Come on now. First up on the ring.
Ali stayed on at the club for a series of exhibition bouts organised by Norman.
He was on the end of the ring there, just watching, and he was giving it all. As though he was dodging every floor, doing it himself. He was getting revved up to actually be there.
Leslie helped Ali into the ring.
Ali says, will you put the gloves on with one of the boys? He says, yeah. He says, I want someone with a bit of fire in his body. Got Les in the ring, and of course got him gloved up, and in this corner, the world heavyweight champion, Muhammad Ali. The challenger from Granger Park, Les Close. And I don't know if you've ever seen the speed of his fists. I mean, the way he whizzes them around and then poof, out it comes. It's just unreal. All of a sudden I've got one of these journalists on the ringside saying, calm down, you young hoodlum. He's fighting next week. I'm thinking, no way, I'm 5'6". You could have put us to bed anytime you wanted to.
Shortly before the visit to the Northeast, Ali had married for the third time and arranged to bless the wedding at a mosque in South Shields. 19-year-old Mohammed Hussein was asked by his father to keep an eye on who was allowed into the mosque.
The scene was just people's heads. Thousands and thousands of people all wanted to get inside the mosque. I would only sit and hold about 200 people. This is where his car came down. It turned, parked, just there. It just looked great, just white suit, gold pendant, looked like something off Shaft or something, it was, great, All of a sudden, people start coming through the gate. I got pushed by the sheer weight of the crowd, and I ended up in the main prayer room. Made his way with Veronica. The imam was waiting, and the conducted the service. Well, it wasn't a wedding as such; it was a blessing of the marriage. He chose to do it in our mosque, and we felt really good about it.
Ali completed his visit to the Northeast by taking questions from an invited audience at the Newcastle Leisure Centre.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Eldon Square Recreation Centre. Could I ask you, Ali, what has been your greatest impression of the people in the city of Newcastle since you arrived here?
Well, the greatest impression that I've had here is the peace that's in the city, the serenity, the unity and the cleanliness. I asked the police officer, where's your pistol? He said, man, we don't need that here. England is heaven compared to America. You all practice what people in my country preach.
Coming up, Ali's health is called into question on British television.
Well, those marvellous heavyweight title fights. Has it had any effect on you?
Yes, made me 10 times me the world's most recognized man.
And one final emotional meeting between the champ and a British sporting hero.
Yeah, it was quite poignant to see them both together, both suffering in their own ways, but very happy to see each other.
By 1980, world heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali had been a professional fighter for 20 years. The way he had stood up for his beliefs had won him millions of admirers in Britain and around the world. But his boxing career was drawing to an inauspicious end. Now 38 years old, Ali defended his title against his longtime sparring partner, Larry Holmes.
His body was built. He looked like Tarzan, for God's sake. Looked like the old Muhammad, though, with the build and everything. But it was empty. It was an empty tank.
I was sitting at the ringside and I could just see what was happening to Ali. He was disintegrating before our eyes.
This is a sad Ali, surely. Can't fight back.
And I have to say, that was the only time at any sporting event I've ever shed a tear.
Come on, Ali. Either throw a punch or go down, or you really can't linger like this.
And he went back to his corner at the end of the 10th round, and Angelo Dundee, his trainer, said, look, I'm going to stop the fight.
Dundee has had the compassion to say that he's the chief second and he's right.
I think, had Dundee not acted like that, Ali might well have lost his life that night.
And that is a sad and sorry end for Muhammad Ali.
Broke my heart, but it had to be. I didn't want to get injured. So, you do the best you can with what you got.
Ali retired from boxing shortly after the Holmes fight, with a record of 56 wins in 61 bouts. In 1983, the former heavyweight champion returned to Britain. He visited Birmingham for the naming ceremony of the newly opened Muhammad Ali Centre in Handsworth.
I'm a real freedom fighter. I am the greatest. Wasn't just because I'm boasting. I'm trying to say we are the greatest.
But there were growing concerns about Ali's medical condition. He was asked about the rumours on a local news programme.
There was all sorts of stories going on about Muhammad Ali's health, but no one actually had come out and asked him. And there he is sitting in my studio. And I just felt the moment was right to ask that question.
Mohammed, unfortunately, a lot of people over here are sort of worrying about your health because there have been consistent stories in this country in the newspapers over the last few weeks that you are not well.
I heard I got brain damage.
That's right.
I heard I'm drugged and on narcotics. It's terrible. I don't know.
Are these stories about your health true, as far as you're concerned?
What about my health?
Well, the business about whether it's had any effect on you, all these punches that you've had to take over the years.
I don't recognize it.
The year after visiting Birmingham, Ali revealed that he was suffering from the early stages of Parkinson's disease. As Ali's health has faltered over the last 3 decades, his visits to Britain have become less frequent. But his long relationship with this country and his amazing career in the ring were to inspire generations of British boxers.
When I was young, I was about 8, and I started borderline getting myself into trouble. But my dad always loved Muhammad Ali, and he wanted me to get involved in boxing.
Now we're due for the Ali shuffle, I think, any moment. It looks to me as though he's loosening up now.
But I never had his skill, never had his rhythm. But I just had the vision, I just wanted to be like him, and I go,
Oh yes, this is a brilliant Ali now. This is really back to his best.
My first memories of Muhammad Ali, I was about 9 years old, and it was me and my 5 brothers and my sister were watching Muhammad Ali in black and white.
Ali really starts to show off stuff, doesn't he? He can afford to.
There was this guy on the TV, dancing around, and it was just absolutely brilliant to watch. Now, we'd watched other sports, obviously, and seen other athletes, but nobody had the sort of draw and pulling power of a Muhammad Ali. It was an inspiration when you saw the videos of him and all the great fights, what he did for boxing.
Repeated left hand there without reply.